Hello, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
And welcome back to the Weird Science Comics YouTube channel, where I'm going to be going through Future State Justice League #1. Two stories here. A Justice League story by Joshua Williamson that harkens back to the late 90s Grant Morrison run of JLA. And then a Justice League Dark story by Ram V that kind of continues into the future what he had been working on leading into this whole future state. Now, one thing to know about this, and I wish DC would tell us in each issue, this happens in the year 2040. So you end up having a weird little deal here with this Justice League as we are introduced to them, because this takes place 15 years or so after the next Batman's introduced. But it takes place a couple years before the solo book that we already had of Wonder Woman, Yara Flor. All these things mixing and matching in there is a problem. But my biggest problem with this first story is the idea that as a reader, we don't know a lot of these characters yet. Even somebody like Andy as Aquawoman, yeah, if you're an Aquaman fan, you saw her as a little baby. But as this released, we did not have her as the future state version yet. Why wasn't this released at the end of the month after all of the books could come out? We could get a little in tune with what these characters are all about. And now we have the team-up book, because in a team-up book, you're not going to get a lot of time to really explore the characters. That's the thing with the Justice League book. You end up liking that because you know the characters and want to see the interaction with each of the characters on the team. Now, Joshua Williamson is kind of stuck in a corner with this. I'm not going to fully blame him, but he tries to get out of it by setting up these weird new Justice League rules. You're not allowed to fraternize after work hours. They're not even allowed to know the daily lives that these characters may lead. The problem is a lot of the people reading it don't know that either, so it leaves a big gap. But the story starts out with the Legion of Doom, seemingly led by Tio Morrow, that looks like time has really hit him even harder than I would have thought. Also Dr. Ivo, but also a couple other cool characters. You even have some legacy characters like Despero's daughter, Despera, and all these things going on. And they're there to kind of, I'm going to get that Justice League. Ooh, I hate that Flash. I'm going to do this. And okay, that's cool. You see some cool things. Oh my God, what's going to happen? And they say, we're going to take down the Justice League tomorrow. We flip to tomorrow, they're all dead. They are dead. So we introduce this Legion of Doom, and a panel later, they are dead. Well, this is what I was talking about, of not knowing the characters and what's going on. And even in the book, them not knowing themselves. They're at a crime scene. If you have read the Black Label book Far Sector, you know that Jo Mullins, the Green Lantern, she is a cop. She's also a space cop as a Green Lantern. But you have this deal where Yara Flor says, hey, Flash, check out for evidence. They go, no, that was Barry Flash, and it feels off. It feels off because the idea of not knowing what the characters do after they clock out from the Justice League and go home, that's fine to not know, but you should know what each character on your team does. They should know by now, but who knows how long they've been together even, but they should know that Jo is the one who looks for evidence. She is the cop of the thing. You can let that be known within a team without spilling the beans about everything you're about. It seems just silly. And so Jo is going to end up looking at the crime scene while we just have the other members kind of talk a little. They can't reveal much, all that. You end up having John wants to have a team meeting with Batman. We find out that John actually wants to expand the roster and wants it to be like the old Justice League where they did hang out and they were buddies. And I think that this whole story is going to hinge on the idea that together as a knowing group of buddies and friends, they are better off. But to get there in these two issues, because these are only two issues, you end up just meandering around and not doing much because, unfortunately, like I said, Joshua Williamson is not really allowed to do that much in my mind. Batman at this point has not had his identity officially revealed in the books. So what can you do with Batman? Well, what he ends up doing is going to the Bruce Wayne Batman trope of Batman disappearing without you knowing. That doesn't feel right. We need to have these characters feel different than what we're used to, but you can't in the book because they haven't been revealed. It's all twisting and turning to really give us not much of anything. You do end up having Yara and John go off to have hot dogs and talk about how great it used to be when everybody would come over for dinner at the farmhouse and things like that. But you then have just things going on and showing that the Justice League team, they fight their crime, they go back to their cities, but that is on their own while Joe keeps going and looking at the evidence of this murder of the Legion of Doom. Now, in this, you do see Yara, I guess it looks like Zatanna. She's busy doing karaoke, and you do end up seeing the next Batman seemingly laying next to the Batgirl suit, because that doesn't look like the Batman suit at all. But you go there, and we go to Amnesty Bay, and we see that the Flash, Jess, and Andy, Aquawoman, they do hang out a bit. They're doing it on the sly. There's not much here, though. It just continues to be a lot of non-talk because you really can't have much with this. And that's the big thing. This is where the villains are somewhat revealed. You end up having John and Yara show up in Amnesty Bay. They're upset, maybe that Flash and Aquaman are fraternizing. But at the same time, Superman shows up to talk to Joe Mullins, and so something is wrong. We have duplicates, things like that. And you end up having Flash getting blasted. Andy freaks out. She attacks. She does hit John in the face, Superman in the face, and you see that something is up. That is not Superman. And then they blast her. And so you think at this point they might be dead. They are not, but we'll see as this goes on, because then Joe gets blasted. And it seems like everybody on the Justice League now, even off panel, has been taken care of, as you see these duplicates come through a boom tube to get to the Hall of Justice. And what's going on? Well, it's the Hyper Clan. It's the Hyper Clan from Grant Morrison's JLA, the beginning story. So we're mimicking that. And they say that they're coming back to mimic the Justice League, and everybody's going to love them. We messed up the last time by revealing our true identities, all this stuff. They were white Martians, all these things going on. They're coming back for their revenge. And they do say, okay, I hope that the Justice League enjoys the hell that we were put through. So we'll see what's going on. Now, the hell that they were put through at the end of that Morrison story was their minds were wiped and they were turned into just normal human beings walking through their regular day lives. So we'll see if that's the case. But the idea of not knowing all the characters, not being able to show what the characters are in this, is such a bad play here. And really, maybe if you had it at the end of the month and you could kind of play with the idea of at least us knowing some of these characters a little more, it would have played out better, but it is not great the way it's spelled out. The Justice League Dark Story by Ram V, with art by Masao Takara, as I said earlier, is a little bit better, but this even gets boring because the setup of this is that Merlin has come back to Earth. He has really decimated the Justice League Dark. He's taking over and destroying all the magical characters on Earth, kind of purging the magical characters. The deal, like most of the JLD stuff, especially what we just got done, magic is in big trouble. And you have Bobo and Zatanna trying to figure things out and save the day. And one of the big things is that you end up having Khalid, the whole Dr. Fate. He has gone off. Nobody knows where he is. He's trying to figure out how to get the helm of Fate working, all this stuff going on. And so you end up having Zatanna and Bobo kind of walking around to see the destruction that Merlin has caused, but also trying to figure out a way to fight back. You find out that Merlin has this hit squad that is going off and pretty much taking care of all the magical characters, burning them at the stake. In the point in this, saying they're even made to watch their magical colleagues burn each time, and then the next one goes, they go in line, and you see that Zuriel has been killed, and Zatanna and Bobo even say, oh my God, he killed an angel. How do you kill an angel? Well, we have to get a little expert opinion here. This is just a setup so that we can see that Etrigan is no longer bound to Jason Blood. Etrigan is bound to Bobo. It's a pretty cool idea. It's a pretty cool moment. And with that, there's this side deal that Etrigan cannot fight Merlin because of the pact. He has all these things, the contract. He can't fight Merlin. He can fight the people that are hired by Merlin, but he cannot fight Merlin himself. And this is part of the mystery that's not well spelled out at the end. That's going to be going forward to figure out how Etrigan can fight Merlin. But right now, you do have Bobo and Etrigan soulbound here as the demon. And then they go off to find some more things, information, more characters. They go to Rory Regan, Ragman, and see what he knows. And he does say that a bunch of magical characters had recently come to his store. He sells little magical trinkets and charms, he does. And they ended up getting a bunch of protection charms. And he has figured out that they are going to put a cloaking spell somewhere near Las Vegas, Old Vegas. So that is where they're going to have to go to try to find out what these characters, especially John Constantine, are up to. While that is going on, you end up having the Merlin hit squad show up. And yeah, they're going to go and they're going to get Rory. If they find Etrigan, if they find Zatanna, they're going to burn them all at the stake. They're going to kill them. The deal is how can they fight back? How can these three fight back against so many people that are coming to kill them? Well, they're going to get Rory. Hey, why don't you become Ragman again? He says, I can't. The deal, the rags, they lost all the souls. We don't have any more souls anymore. Well, Etrigan says, I can kind of help with that. I'll give you a soul. I'll lend you a soul. You can end up doing that. And then you fight. We're going to get the hell out the back door. And you do have that. And it's a pretty cool deal where you have this rampaging Ragman. And even Bobo and Zatanna are like, I wonder what the hell that soul was. I mean, that was pretty wacky. Well, we end up going off and seeing, and it started off with seeing these, I guess, homeless guys, these old men that are sitting on a bench. This is near Vegas, by the way. And you end up where the one has a coffee can, and he can see the future in it. He opens it up, it glows gold. He's like, I can look in there and see the future, a storm is coming, all this stuff going on. Well, you end up having Bobo and Zatanna. They do find Constantine. He's got a nice little scar on his face to show that shit has not gone right. And they say, well, you're doing a cloaking spell. You must be making a safe haven for all the magical characters. You're cloaking a town so that you can go and hide from Merlin's gaze. That's not what it is. It's not a deal with a safe haven. What it ends up being, it's the cloaking spell on this old guy. Well, Etrigan has to go over and take this away and show what's going on. He goes to this old man who's going to show him his coffee cup, and it's revealed that the cloaking spell was done on Khalid, Dr. Fate, to keep Dr. Fate out of the radar of Merlin. Well, once this spell is broken down here, that pretty much sets up that Merlin knows where Khalid is, knows Dr. Fate's there, knows that, and they are on their way. They're on their way to take care of this and get the Helm of Fate. And you had set up that that's pretty much the last thing Merlin needs to destroy the world, do whatever he wants to do. Now, with that, we see Merlin in a silhouette, and one thing, that's a misplay to me as well. You end up having the big bad that we're talking about, not really seeing the mystery of why Etrigan can't attack Merlin. It's kind of played very coy by the end. Dr. Fate says, I'm going to show you what's going on, and I'm going to show you what happened with Jason Blood, which seemingly will allow Etrigan then to say the contract's void. I'm going after Merlin, because if you don't know, Merlin was the one who ended up binding Jason Blood and Etrigan's soul to make the whole deal in the first place. So what happened after that to get Bobo, we'll find out, I guess. And so all of this is just kind of there, and it's a better story. The JLD story is better than the Just League story, but it's a little boring. And overall, it just is kind of a non-essential book. It seems like it's just a filler book, and the Just League should not be a filler book. This should be the one that, after learning about all these characters in their solo books, we hit hard with a Justice League book that is awesome. Like, oh my God, these characters coming together. I could see this Justice League being something, and I want to see more of this and whatever. And it just falls completely flat. And because of that, even with great art, I'm giving it a 5.5 with the idea that the Justice League story by Joshua Williamson is worse than the JLD. The JLD one did pick it up a bit to get to that 5.5 for me, but I'd like to hear what everybody thinks about it as well in the comments below. But hey, that's that. Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, like, do all that stuff. Check out our stats below where we have all sorts of podcasts, websites, and the such of that. Is that how you say it? The such of that. But thanks, everybody, and I'll talk to you later.